Hey, how's it going, everybody? So we are halfway through the Sleepaway Camp franchise, and we are up to 1989 Sleepaway Camp 3 Teenage Wasteland, which, as I mentioned in the last review for Unhappy Campers, I love this movie too, but nowhere near as much as the second one. The second one is my favorite, like I said, it's my favorite in the series, one of my favorite slasher films ever, and just the campiness of it and just how ridiculous it is. Like, I love that shit so much. Like Pieces, and which I did a review on, or like Blood Rage, and just ridiculous 80s slashers. It's my thing. It's a funny little story. So I was supposed to have this review up yesterday. I started watching the movie in the afternoon, and my sister randomly comes over and says, spur of the moment, like, Coldplay is playing at MetLife Stadium in Jersey. Like, let's go. Like, if you drive, I'll buy the tickets. And I said, yeah, sure. It's my younger sister. I love her to death. So I said, yeah, let's just go. I've never been a big Coldplay fan. I mean, I like a few songs, and I love one song by them, The Scientist. It has special meaning to me. It was an ex-girlfriend of mine and mine's favorite song, and she tragically passed away like 6-7 years ago. So that song will always have a deep meaning for me. But we go to this concert, and we got lost for so long. And anyone who's been to concerts, I've literally been to over 1,000 shows in my life. Like, even just 3 bands, Fish and the Grateful Dead, all different incarnations of them, obviously, since Jerry died years ago in '95. And the Disco Biscuits, those 3 bands together, maybe 300 times I've seen them combined, so that's just 3 bands. So I've definitely been to over 1,000 concerts. And like I said, not a big fan of Coldplay, like just a few songs. And what a fucking show, man. Seriously, like they know how to put a performance on. Like, unreal. Like, fireworks going off like every 2 songs, and every single person in MetLife Stadium was given a bracelet that had lights that like change and shit, so like, and synchronized to the music. So like, we're on like general mission, like right by the stage on the floor and stuff, and you look around at like the 3 upper levels, and all you see is just lights everywhere, and like just going to the beat of the music and changing colors and shit, and the sky's right above you, the moon is dude, it was fucking probably the best concert I've ever been to from a band that I don't really care for that much. Really cool. But the reason I bring it up is not even just that, this review was up later than it should have been. They end up having a special guest there. So me and my sister went to get services when we were trying to get into this place. Anyone who's been to a concert, you know that 99% of the people who work there have no fucking clue where anything is. No idea. So we're going from 1 gate to 2 gates down and asking someone, listen, where do you get the bracelets for general admission again? And, oh, it's back that way, 2 gates and stuff. And then one person just straight up like, oh, I honestly have no idea, man. So we get to get services, and she tells us exactly, the only woman who knows what the hell she's talking about, and it ends up just saying, don't leave early tonight because there's going to be a special guest. So me and my sister, all right, that's cool. I'm like, I wonder who it would be. And I just thought it was freaky as hell that I'm in the middle of this series with the 2 sequels with Pamela Springsteen, and of all the musicians in the world, the special guest was Bruce Springsteen, her brother. I thought that was so fucking weird. I was like, that's fucking freaky. Completely, like, blew my mind. I was like, that's so weird. So let's dive into Sleepaway Camp 3 Teenage Wasteland. Directed by the same person who directed the second movie, Michael A. Simpson, and starring, obviously, again, Pamela Springsteen. And again, her performance is amazing. She's just so good in the roles in the sequels for this franchise. Like, it's unbelievable how good she did. Oh, there's also something else I want to talk about. If you watched the last review for Unhappy Campers, you know that I basically just blew that movie for like 40 minutes or so. I absolutely love that film. I have nothing, almost nothing negative to say about that movie. I love it so much. So I mentioned about the stupid cop in the first movie who has the regular mustache and everything. And then later on at the end of the movie, he has the most ridiculous mustache that it looks so fake. It looks like Sharpie drawn on his face. Like, and I said in the review for the first Sleepaway Camp, I said, I have to know, like, what happened? Like, I need to know. And I ended up looking it up earlier this morning. And I was pretty much right. Like, they said it on IMDb. They mentioned the mustache, and they say the actor shaved during filming, and then he had to do the last scene, and he wasn't able to grow it back in time, which is pretty much what I guessed. But come on, like, dude, you're filming, you know that you're in the movie, and that you know the scenes you have and stuff. Why would you shave your whole mustache off? It still makes no sense. It's ridiculous. But let's get into the third one. So it's just actually a weird rewatch for me because I've always loved 2 and 3. Like I said, 2 so much more, and obviously the first film. But 3 was always my least favorite, but I still loved it. And watching this movie this time was very unique and interesting because I would go back and forth from thinking, you know, I don't think I care for this movie as much as I remember. And then a few minutes would go by and there would just be a hilarious line or a great shot or a scene and stuff. And I'd be like, oh wait, this is why I love this movie. Then again, like some time would go by and I'd be like, I'd notice something stupid that I'd never noticed before. And I'd be like, that's fucking dumb. And brought it down a little, made me question how much I like this movie again. And then a few minutes later, the same thing would happen, and another hilarious line, and just kept going back and forth, and just end result, I still love this movie. Nowhere near as much as the first 2, but I still love this movie. It's almost to the point of parody at this point in the series. Like, the first movie obviously is a lot more serious. Unhappy Campers, the second one, is campy as hell, but it just has this charm about it. And that's why I love that movie so much. Like, there's just a campiness, but it's not over the top, like crazy campiness that makes you roll your eyes or like, come on, what the fuck what am I watching? Like, this third film is so much more campy than the second one. Like I said, to the point of it's almost like a parody of the series by this point. And it still works a bit, but it definitely, that's why it's my least favorite in the series. Until I watch Return to Sleepaway Camp for the first time ever, late in a little bit. If I can find it online somewhere. If I can, that'll be the first review on the channel that I've not seen the movie, and it'll be the first time watching it. And I've avoided it for years from just terrible, terrible things said about it. So I'm very interested to watch that movie. So, fucking already 8 minutes in. 1 year after part 2, this takes place. So it's only been a year. And so I had 1 year, then it was 5 years since the first one. So it's been 6 years since the first Sleepaway Camp. And 1 year after the second one. So we have this girl, Maria, and she's heading off to camp. And then she just gets ran over by the garbage truck. Like, it's actually like, it looks kind of fucking brutal, man. Like, just the way she gets hit. And then Angela comes out and ends up picking her body up and putting it in the back of the garbage truck, and just compacts her in there. You don't see anything. Just like I've noticed on these rewatches that even though there's no real gore for the kills in this movie, and I've mentioned this in the other 2 reviews, the aftermath of the kills and seeing the bodies and everything have great effects. Like, they look very good. I wish, especially for this film, that there was more on-screen gore and we saw more of the kills. Like, you can tell that the MPAA made them cut a lot of shit out, because there are some inventive kills in this movie. And if we had like some Tom Savini effects like in this movie and stuff elevate this movie so much higher, like so much higher. But unfortunately, we don't. So that is a decent negative for me with this film. So Angela just basically assumes the identity of the girl Maria that she threw in the back of the garbage truck and compacted her, and ends up going to Camp New Horizons, which is the same camp as Camp Rolling Hills from the last movie, but with a new name under new ownership by Herman and what the hell's her name? Lily. That's it, Lily. Just what an overbearingly happy woman. Like, it's like she's so happy all the time and like so just like, oh, sharing is caring and everything like that. It's so overbearing that I have to mention that I am a huge stand-up comedy fan, and George Carlin is one of my idols and my favorite stand-up comic of all time. And he has this skit when he starts breaking down all like English phrases and why they make no sense and stuff. And one of the last ones he gets to is more than happy. And that's the way I can describe Lily in this movie. More than happy. And he says, this sounds like a dangerous mental condition. We had to put Dave in the mental home. He was, more than happy. So funny. And that's all I can think about now when I see her character. Like, it's just that she is just more than happy in like a dangerous way. Like, absolutely crazy character, but she just has a charm to her too that I really like Lily in this movie. Where did she get that exact wig to match Maria's hair? The one she takes her identity over. Like, it's like exactly her hair, but a wig. And how did she go and even buy a wig? Like, this is happening a year after the killings from the second movie. So you would think that her face would be everywhere in the media and stuff, and this would be huge national news. Come on, it's a little ridiculous. But they do address that later in the film, which made me take that back. Then when the cop, Sean's dad, Barney, that's another thing with this film and stuff. I can name every character almost, except from like 2 in the second movie, because I love it dearly. I couldn't remember 90% of the names of the people in this movie before I watched it. It's just the characters are nowhere near as memorable. Like, nowhere near. But there are still great characters, and there are hysterical lines in this movie that, just like the second one. Like, so, it's like I said, it was just a weird watch. It was like, do I love this movie as much as I did, or do I not? Like, yeah, I do. But then, wait a minute. No, I don't. And then, yeah, no, I do. I mean, like, it was so weird. So, and then we see the shot of like the graffiti on the wall that says Angela is back. And then we get the opening credits and everything. So we have the little interviews with Herman and Lily about what they're doing there, opening the camp, and that they're basically taking groups from like inner city troubled youth and stuff. And that's one group of the camp. And, like, you know, the campers going, and then the other group is like well off, like rich kids and stuff like that, and just the two of them, the 2 groups to like commingle and like learn to understand each other better and stuff. I mean, meh. I mean, it's whatever. Like, it's not a great premise or anything like that. It's just fine. Like, it does really not that much for me, but it's not like it's like this is a fucking stupid idea for a movie. Like, it's nowhere near that. But it's meh for me completely. And I love how they're interviewing them and stuff. Like I said, there's so many great lines in this movie. And I even put down here, Cindy is adorable in this movie. And Marcia is adorable in this movie. Like, those are probably my 2 favorite characters in this movie. Besides, you know, Angela by Pamela Springsteen. And I never really cared for Riff, the black dude listening to the most generic, like stereotypical, like almost racist to a way, rap music like that he's playing throughout the whole movie. It almost reminds me of Intruder, like when I reviewed that, and I said just when Ted Raimi's listening to his music, and it's just stock music of like 6 repeating keyboard notes over and over again. And every time you see him in that movie, it's the same music playing over and over again. It reminded me of that for some reason, but it's just like this such stereotypical like stock music that's supposed to be like rap, and it's so stupid. It really is. And then we have Bobby. Like, I don't even know how to describe Bobby. He's another character that I like. I don't like love him, but he's not like a nerd, but he's like, I don't know how to describe Bobby. Like, but he has some funny ass lines in this movie. Like, he really does. And Snowboy, what the fuck is that? Come on, man. What a stupid nickname. Come on, Snowboy. I can see, like, if they showed later on in the movie him, like, coked out of his mind or something like that, and, like, at least it lends some type of credibility to, like, why he has a nickname Snowboy or something like that, or, like, he loves fucking going skiing or fucking, and something to do, like, to explain this nickname. Snowboy? Come on, like, what the fuck is that? Like, what a stupid name. And we find out while the newscaster is doing this interview and everything, that there were 19 kills in the last movie. Now, I didn't go back and check that, but I mentioned in the second movie that they say when Phoebe's telling the story of Angela and stuff in Camp Arawak at the beginning, that there were 30 victims, and there is absolutely no way that there were 30 people killed in the first Sleepaway Camp. And when I looked up this morning about the mustache, it said the kill count, and I guessed it in the review I did. I said maybe a dozen, maybe a little less or so. So I was close. It was 13. Nowhere near 30. I don't know where they came up with that line, but absolutely not 30 people were killed in that movie. So Herman, man. I mean, Herman is such a... What is with this series with just old, weird fucking guys trying to fuck or fucking, like, the young campers, like, or council? Like, it's so weird. We have Mel and Meg in the first movie. Doesn't happen in the second movie. Just another thing I love about it. Then we have this one with just Herman and... What the hell's her name? Jan. God, it's so weird. Like, why? Like, why is she with this guy? And Herman's married to Lily and stuff, so he's cheating on her all the time and stuff, and just... But, like, he has this creepy lines where he's saying, like, sweet pea, like, come out sweet pea, when he's going by her tent and stuff. It's so weird. It's so creepy. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, you already did this, like, little plot line once in this series. Like, you really had to explore this again and make us suffer through it. Like, come on, get out of here. And then we meet Officer Barney, which is, they have a great line when they mention Barney, his name, when Lily mentions it, when they're all in, like, the cafeteria, and the guy goes, like, oh, who, Barney Rubble? And she just doesn't get the reference at all, and she goes, no, Barney, whatever, Whitmore, that's it, Barney Whitmore, and, like, completely misses the reference to the Flintstones. Like, that's fucking hilarious. I found that so funny this time, and there's so many great lines in that scene. In the cafeteria and stuff, and like when Marcia mentions to Cindy, I think, and says that Tony guy's cute, and she's like, yeah, he's Mexican though. Oh, dude, this movie's fucking racist as shit. Like, it really is. Like, there's a lot of racist stuff said in this movie. Like, it like blew me away actually, because I didn't remember a lot of that, and it absolutely blew me away. I said, this is some racist shit that's happening that's being said in this movie, like the Mexican thing, and then just when Cindy is calling Riff the N-word like twice or 3 times and shit like that, and just a lot of racism in this movie. Which, I mean, I get it, like they said, because they're mixing the rich kids with the the inner city kids and stuff, so it makes sense to it. But still, like, it still made me like absolutely like just. This is some racist shit that's going on in this movie, man. And just Bobby has such funny lines in this movie. Like I said, I can't even describe his character. But he just goes, like, try sitting down, like, at every table. And as soon as he sits down next to, what the fuck's her name? The Asian chick. He's like, hey, I'm Bobby Stark. Can I sit here? And she's like, drop dead fag. Like, oh man, this guy gets like so just like torn apart by like everybody else. And then he had another great line like before that scene when he goes up to Lily and he's like, he spray painted my map. And she's like, well, at least he didn't graffiti a tree, dear, and like pokes him on the nose. Like, that's hilarious, man. Like I said, this just like the second movie, like there are so many funny lines in this movie. There really are. Even if the characters, all of them, aren't as memorable, or that I love the characters as much as I do in Unhappy Campers, this movie still cracks me up. Like, it is so funny. But like I said, it's almost borderline parody. But it's still hilarious. And after that line too, I love how like a few scenes later, Snowboy is actually graffitiing a tree in the woods. Just like, that's fucking funny. That is hilarious. And so they end up having the news reporter. We get our second kill here after Maria with the garbage truck in the beginning. And this news reporter goes up to Angela and asks if she knows where she can score some coke. And Angela just says, yeah, I'll be right back. She goes into this like janitor's closet or something and gives her fucking like Ajax cleaner powder in the fucking bag and shit. And ends up saying, well, what's the line when she's saying? She's like, the dangerous thing about being a drug addict is you never know how pure your stuff is. It's just pouring Ajax cleaner. That's hilarious, man. And she ends up just going out and giving it to the news reporter. Then she says, have a nice life. What's left of it? Great line. And then she just drives off, and then she like parks to do her like coke, and she like sniffs this entire bag like at once. And she even says to Angela, like, wow, that's a lot. Like, because she asked for like a gram or something like that. I don't know how much that is, but she's like, wow, that's a lot. She's like, yeah, you're my favorite newscaster. And she snips like this whole bag of Ajax cleaner. And just immediately, and there's some great sound design in that scene. Like, it's like you can hear like the sound of like it's eating away at her brain or some shit. Like, it's weird, but it's great sound design. And she just starts like bleeding out the nose and stuff, and just falls over dead and stuff. Cool kill. I mean, you don't see that in a slasher movie often at all. Like, I can't think off the top of my head of seeing that in another slasher film, like a kill like that. Like, using like some dangerous product as passing it off as a drug and then having the person just completely fucking die from taking it. I can't think of another slasher film that happens in. If anyone does, leave in the comments. I'd be interested to know that. So they end up splitting them into 3 groups, and Angela ends up going with Herman, Snowboy, and Peter and Jan. Jan is the one that's fucking the old dude, Herman. And I wonder why they were picked together in the same group. And blah, 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 I said that already. So then Angela finds Herman and Jan fucking in their tent. Which, again, is just so disgusting. It's such a weird scene, dude. Like, it's hard to watch, it really is. Even though Jan has amazing tits. And she makes a comment, Angela, after she kills her, saying, like, good thing you're dead, because in a few years your tits would have been sagging like crazy, or something like that. That's a great line. So funny. But what a stupid kill scene this is. She takes a stick, Angela, and just starts beating Herman with it, and it's so light. Like how hard she hits him, it's like this stick is like a wiffle bat, and it's like she's just bop, bop, bop. Like if it was happening to you, you would just be like, "Yo, stop it! Yo, stop! That's annoying. Will you stop with that? Like you're not getting beaten to death with this fucking thing. It's so stupid. What a stupid fucking kill. It really is. It's one of the only kills in the movie that I think is just absolutely insane and absolutely retarded that they put that in there like that. And then she does the same thing to Jan, and like just like twice or three times hits her with it, and she's just bleeding to death on the ground and suddenly dead. Like so stupid. It really is. That's such a dumb scene. I even wrote down so fucking dumb because it really is. I don't know how I never remembered that like kill really, like after how many times I've seen this movie over the years, but this time like this is such a stupid kill. Like it really is. Like I couldn't believe it. And these notes are so out of order, man, because I started taking notes, like I said yesterday when I was watching this movie, then spur of the moment concert happened, and then I had to rewatch the beginning, and then today and everything this morning, so it's like there's just like lines from the movie written out of order and shit, like just completely just all over the place, so I'm gonna be skipping right back and forth between things. But like back to that cafeteria scene with all the funny lines, and like Snowboy's like one of the only good lines in this movie. This stupid character is like, can the boy sleep with the girls? And Lily's just like, no, no. And she like looks back at Harmon for like reassurance, and he doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything. And it's ironic as shit because he's fucking Jan. Like, that's such a funny line. That's like his only line. And then when Barney comes in and they introduce him to the cops, Sean's father and stuff. And I really like that actually about this movie, that they brought, after Sean mentioning in the second film that his father helped arrest Angela in the first film, after the events of the first film, that they brought the father into this movie, mentioning that his son was killed a year ago. Like I just thought that was cool that they brought the father in and tried to tie that together with the last movie. Nice little touch there. But in this scene that he's burping, like the black dude, he's burping and stuff like that, like over and over again. Once he says he's a cop, Barney, and Tony, I think his name is, right? And he says, he's like, yo, you got a problem? And he just goes, like, suck my dick, like, this movie's so racist. It's not even funny, it's disgusting. Like, and the way Riff, like, delivers lines in this movie, it's, like, so, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, he overacts so much, and, like, with such, like, a weird intensity that it's like, whoa, dude, like, what are you saying right now? Like, calm down. Like, it's so, he does it a few times in this movie. And I never cared for that character, but I was actually cracking up at some things that he does in this movie this time on this rewatch. Like, I actually liked his character more than I ever have. And it's hard to like his character, man, because, like I said, it's fucking racist, dude. Like half the people in this movie are, like, such evil people, man. It's like an ongoing theme with this series. I can't wait to see Return to Sleepaway Camp, to see what insanity is going to be in that terrible film. So we get our next kills. Angela sets off the firecracker in Peter's nose, and Snowboy is waking up right as the fuse is like burning and everything, and it explodes in his nose, and you don't see much, like I keep saying, like with all the kills in this series, but the after kill, and it's like a little out of focus and stuff, but you could tell like it blew his whole face apart. Like, cool kill. And then she just knocks Snowboy out, he's still alive, but knocks him unconscious, and drags all the bodies into a tent, and pours gasoline over it, and then just lights a match or a flare. She throws it at the tent, and you just hear Snowboy screaming as he's burned alive in there. So what a great scene. That is a great scene with two great kills in there. Really good. Awesome stuff. And again, with just the over-the-top stock music, stereotypical rap music, we just hear it like in like 5 or 6 scenes in this movie, and it's just hilarious every time. It's like, come on, like they could, and I said this in Intruder. I said like they couldn't get better stock music. Like there's a lot of stock music out there, like unlicensed music and no copyright that you can just use for whatever. And they pick the stupidest things. The songs, they're not even songs. They're just like beats. And like, come on, like it's so stupid. And I've mentioned on the channel, I'm a musician for 20 plus years. Like music is my #1 passion. Horror is right after that. So when anything like music related in movies that I could pick apart, it's like that bothers me. Like when I hear the stock music, it's like, come on, they couldn't do anything. Like couldn't even hire like a cheap like musician to like pay him cheaply and just be like, yo, can you just write like something and record it for us, like for this movie, like anything. Like if I was making the movie, that's exactly what I would probably do. I don't use stock music. I'd be like, hey, find a musician, no one popular or anything, just some guy trying to make a living. Like, yeah, we'll give you like $1,000 or something if you just write us like some rap beat and something. Like, I don't know, seems like common sense to me, but apparently not in the 80s for these people. There's that stock music they use is absolutely ridiculous in this movie. And I like how they're set up in the 3 groups like that. So that Angela is basically, she goes from one group to the other after killing everybody in the first group, and then she goes to the second group and kills everyone there and goes to the third one. That's the cool idea. That's a cool touch. And so she ends up going to Lily's camp, and with who's there? With Riff is there, Cindy and Bobby, Arab. That's the Asian woman, Arab. Weird name too. And Angela just says that she had to switch. That Herman told her to switch with Arab, and she's like happy as shit. She like dumps Lily's coffee out like before she hands it to her, like when she's told that she has to switch, she just like dumps her coffee out. And Lily just immediately goes to Bobby, and Bobby's like her slave. And he just starts pouring another cup for her and hands it to her. That's so funny. That's such a funny little scene. And she ends up taking Arab to like a tent and saying, I think Snowboy's in there or whatever. She goes in this tent and there's nobody there, and she doesn't find this in the least bit suspicious. And there's like an axe and a log like right next to the tent. And Angela just takes it and goes, waits at the entrance of the tent and stuff for her to come poke her head out and just fucking almost decapitates her. Just like right through the neck, and her neck's the axe into the ground. Great stuff. Like that's like again though, it's like you don't see it happen. There's no gore, but then right after, when they show the aftermath of it, looks great. God, I wish there was more gore in these movies, in this series, because it would elevate them so much for me as a slasher fan. Like so much. Like especially if in the second movie, if they had like some great practical effects for on-screen kills, like it would probably be my top 3 slashers of all time. Like straight up. Like I really wish they had much better gore in here. And so she just butchers Arab's neck and face and shit with that axe. And again, what a racist movie. Again, I had to write it. Because they kept saying shit. I was like, oh, God, man. And then they have this little trust building exercise that Lily starts and everything, with her sharing this caring little fucking motto that she has, and our overbearing happiness more than happy. And she just says, all right, so you guys are gonna like tie a blindfold around one of you and tie your hands around your back, and you're gonna trust your partner to walk you through the woods. And what a dangerous ass situation. Of not knowing that this girl is Angela, the fucking angel of death, and that's your partner. Like that's fucking terrifying. Like just thinking about that. And another great line, like an exchange between Bobby and Riff, and she's like, partner up, people and stuff, and Bobby's like, well, I guess we're partners, and just Riff again, like the delivery, it's like, shut up! And he's like, oh, yeah, no, you're right, man. You're cool. Dude, so funny. Like I said, the way Riff just like shouts his lines out, like when you're not ready for it, like ever, like with like such over the top acting and overacting is it's hilarious. It's excellent. It really is so funny. And then she ends up, Angela gets paired up with Cindy, which this sucks because, like I said, I love Cindy in this movie. She's one of my favorite characters. She's absolutely adorable, but she's a fucking racist too, man. I can't say it enough. Like there's so many crazy shit in this movie that I completely forgot about. Like I don't ever remember this movie being like this. Like that over the top racism and stuff like that. Never remembered this being like this. And I love her questions, Angela, to her when she says, "Are you?" After they switch blindfolds and stuff and puts it on Cindy and stuff, and she says to her, "Are you a cheerleader?" And she said, "Yes." She says, "Are you a virgin?" And she's like, "No." And she's like, "Do you do drugs?" "Doesn't everybody do drugs?" She's like, "Strike three." But what is the cheerleader thing about? Like. That makes no sense to me. And I've noticed that on many watches and stuff in the past. Like, what does that mean? She's a cheerleader? So what, every cheerleader in the world is fucking evil? Like, I mean, this one happens to be a complete bigot, yeah, but, but like, just being a cheerleader is like one strike against your life? That's fucking weird. Like, that's stupid. What a stupid, just... line like that. I have no idea why they put that as like one of the three checks of like, oh, all right, then you're gonna die. But we get one of my favorite kills in this movie, and it's just all about the images it puts in your head of like what happens like once she hits the ground. But like she ties Cindy up to the flagpole and she just keeps raising her up like she's an American flag, and she like all the way to the top, and we get such a great shot from the top of the flagpole, and it's just looking down, and she drops her and you just see the body fly to the ground and hit the ground. Great kill. Like I said, I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it. It's just, if there was gore in this movie here, and like, it would be so much better. But still, one of my favorite kills in the movie, just because of how hilarious and like brutal in a way, almost, like at the same time. Like really cool. Then we have like her going to the cafeteria, Angela, and it's, like I said, the same camp as the year before, just different name and everything. So it's the same cafeteria from the last movie. And she's having flashbacks of like scenes from that movie of her singing the Happy Camper song and everything. And I don't know if they reshot that. I'd have to go back to Unhappy Campers and watch that scene, because I mean, you can see Molly's like hand movements in the side of the screen, but it's like the way she says certain lines or when she's singing and stuff like that, it sounds different. So I think they reshot that, but I'd have to look back and check. I'm really interested actually about if they reshot that scene or not. But then there's like definitely reshots, like new scenes and stuff after that one, because she's like, after that like flashbacks and memory, she just starts having like a delusional like memory of it going on, and like we get her line, "If you like me, you really really like me." It's killing me that I didn't look it up. That it was, who said that? Put it in the comments, please. Like it's like it was a actress who won the award or something like that for best actress or something, and she's, "You like me, you really like me." Like what a great line and call back to that thing, that reference that I can't remember. But like I heard that, I said that's such a clever thing to put in there. Then we get probably what, again, like I keep saying, like would it be my favorite kill in this movie if we saw anything, but we don't, and it's Lily's lawnmower kill. Like, it's a great idea. I mean, I've seen it in other movies, burying somebody up to their neck and then just running them over with a fucking lawnmower or some other, like, fucking machine or something like that. Like, you've seen it. It's been in a lot of movies, but just the way when she's asking her when she's leading Lily to the, like, dump in the ground where they dump all their trash, and she says, Lily mentions that they're going on a trip, her and her husband Herman, the creep, and saying, we're going on a trip. And Angela's like, oh, did you buy your tickets yet? And she's like, no. And she's like, oh, your trip's been canceled. And kicks her into the fucking pit of garbage. And Lily's screaming and shit, going like, oh no, it's like, there's rats in here. They'll eat me alive. What a great scene, man. What great lines. And then she screams out, she's like, I changed my mind. You can come with us. On the trip. Dude, I was dying. Like, I don't remember that line, like, at all. Like, not one bit. And I heard that, I started cracking up. Like, you can come with us. I changed my mind. You can come. That's hysterical. Like, that's probably one of my favorite lines in the movie now. Like, I can't believe I never laughed or, like, noticed that line. That's so funny. Like, hysterical. And then Bobby gets, and again, it'll be a great, great kill. But we see literally nothing with this kill. Like, nothing at all. And Bobby's like, thinks that he's going to get laid with Angela and stuff. And he says, you like being tied up. And he says, like, yeah, but don't tell anybody because it can ruin my career if I ever become a politician one day. This fucking funny line, man. Like I said, there's so many great lines and memorable lines in this movie, too. It's just like, the characters are not as memorable for me. And it's just, it hurts the film a bit for me. And that's why this rewatch was so weird, because I kept going back and forth on how I felt about this movie in the past and how I was feeling about it watching it. And in the end, I still love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. But I noticed a lot more stupidity and just dumb shit and just the over-the-top campiness and the blatant racism and everything like that I guess never just, I don't remember the last time I saw this movie. Like, I watch Unhappy Campers like twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. Like, it's, like I said, one of my favorite slashers. I don't think I've seen this movie in like at least 5 years or something like that. So maybe I just don't remember a lot of the shit that happens, but there was just a lot more on this rewatch that brought it down for me, that, like, from my memories of how I feel about this movie. And so she ties up Bobby to the car, his arm, not the car, the tree, his arms like back from the tree, and then ties a rope to her van or the car or whatever, and just drives and rips his arms off. And like I said, it would be such a great scene if we had like fucking Bottin or Savini or anybody fucking that's known for amazing effects. And I'm sure they could have got Savini to like do the effects for this movie, or like the last movie, or any of the ones in the series after his massive blow up in the late 70s and 80s. Friday the 13th, The Prowler, fucking Maniac, and just it goes on and on. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, which Day of the Dead I think is Savini's best work, like absolutely, without a doubt in my mind. Just the certain scenes of, and fucking the dickhead captain or general, whatever, at the end when he's ripped apart by the zombies, and what like amazing effects work. Like, that's Savini's grand opus for me, Day of the Dead, and it's my favorite Romero Dead film. Is Day of the Dead, which is unpopular opinion. A lot of people prefer night or dawn, most dawn, but for me, Day of the Dead, by far. And so Bobby's dead. He's gone. So I actually like, this is a cute little callback. Bobby comes up before he gets killed and he puts his hands around Angela's eyes and says, guess who? And she says, Bobby. What a cool little callback to Paul doing the exact same thing to Angela in the first movie. And she couldn't guess. She thought it was Ricky and then the other one. That was cool. I said to myself, that's cute. Like, that's such a nice little callback to the first movie. Because, like, nothing else besides, like, you know, Angela, like, relates to the first movie at all. So that I thought was really cool. And then she ends up going into Riff's tent, Angela, and telling him to turn the music down again with that stupid music. And he ends up turning it louder and being a dick. And she's like, "Can you turn it off, please? And you heard me the first time." And he just pulls a gun out and points it at her. Like, I don't remember that either. Like, craziness. And that makes sense, because I always wonder where she got the gun from at the end, like later on when she kills Sean's father. And that's where I never remembered him pulling a gun out like that. And then she ends up killing him. She ends up like putting the tent spikes through his hand, and then beating him again, like so weak, with a stick over his head like a few times. Then like somehow, like, you can't tell where his head is in this scene, and somehow she knew exactly where it was and just took another spiked him like right through the head or something. Like, nah, I don't care for it at all, that kill. So Angela goes to the camp with Officer. She again switches camps, because now this second little group of them is dead, and she goes to Officer Barney's one that has Marcia and Tony and the other two. I don't even think I wrote their names down. And says that she has to switch groups again, and she has to Lily said to switch groups, and she has to switch with Marcia. Which Marcia and Tony's little relationship in this movie, it's cute. Like, it is. And like I said, I adore Marcia. She's such a cute girl. She's a great character. I really love her character in this movie. And obviously Marcia doesn't want to switch and be away from Tony. So Angela ends up faking a leg injury, like falls to the ground and stuff like that. And they go and help her. Barney and Marcia end up helping her up and bringing her into like the kitchen or something like that, and starts bandaging her leg up and everything, and Barney says to her, he's like, "Herman didn't really send you over, or Lily didn't send you over here for to switch with Marcia. Like, and she's like, no, she didn't. I just wanted to like be with you guys and stuff." And Marcia's such a sweetheart, man. Like, and she's like, "Oh, well, you can stay with us and stuff." But Barney's like, "Oh, well, you gotta keep with the rules and everything." And she starts saying, Angela, how like Herman sleeps around with the counselors or the campers, and Lily eats steak while she makes us eat fish. And I noticed that earlier in the movie, that there's a small little shot of Lily there, like, and Angela's talking to her, and then Angela walks away, and like you just see Lily flip something over the grill. And I said, that looks like a fucking steak. Like, that ain't fish. I said, this bitch is eating a steak? And then she says it, and she says it later on, and I said, I fucking knew it. You know, I said, that bitch is eating steak and making them all eat fish? Like, that's fucked up, man. Like, don't ever deprive somebody of some good steak. Like, are you kidding? Like, she's making them all catch and eat fish, and she's like eating a fucking porterhouse or something like that? Get out of here. She deserved to die just for that. Like, just for that. Like, come on, that's fucking ridiculous. So funny, though. Like, absolutely funny. And see, the main lesson here in this movie, fish are the real killers. If you deprive people of a good steak and make them eat fish, they will end up being murdered. So the more you know, fish are the real killers. And she ends up saying that Lily's laying around, does nothing, and says to Marcia, she's outside doing nothing now, go check. And it's not a pretty sight, and she goes outside, and you just see, again, like the aftermath of it, and with missing her head from the lawnmower and stuff, and Marcia just freaks the fuck out, and Barney tells Marcia to just get out of here, and Angela tells Marcia, before she left actually, she says that she reminds her of Molly. And I made a lot of points in my review for the last movie, for the second one, that Angela, I believe, truly cared for and liked Molly. And it's because she wasn't like any of the other campers. She was a happy camper, not an unhappy camper. And she actually genuinely cared for and liked Molly and could relate to her, because she was shy, and Angela was so shy as a kid, as we see in the first film, never spoke ever until Paul like opened her up a bit. And she says right to her, to Marcia, says that she reminds her of someone she used to know. Said her name was Molly. And then at the end of this movie, she lets Marcia and Tony go. Like she was just going to let them live. Which is exactly what I said in the second one of what I think. That if they didn't discover the bodies, if Sean didn't discover the bodies by going into the cabin, and she was already fired, Angela. Now I completely think, and like no, 100%, it's my canon for the movie, for the series. She would definitely let Molly and most likely Sean go. Absolutely. After rewatching this one and seeing her letting them go and saying they're a cute couple and like they're the only like real nice ones there, and when especially when she says that Marcia reminds her of Molly, like now it's just like 100% for me. It's like she absolutely would have let Molly and 99% Sean live in the last movie. Absolutely. So Angela has this standoff with Barney, Sean's dad, and says, what a sick line to say to his father. She's like, you look just like your son when you get mad. And then he starts listing off like all the ways that she killed. Like, what did you do this time? How many people did you kill? Did you use a chainsaw, or did you do? And then just list like all the ways that you killed in the last movie. And this is so stupid, like really stupid. He's a cop. She has her hands, both of them, behind her back like this, holding the gun. And he doesn't react to that at all? Not one bit. What type of cop is this? Especially now he knows she's Angela. He knows she's the fucking killer. And who killed his son. And he doesn't immediately say, show me your hands. Like, take them out from behind your back now. And he doesn't have a gun on him either? It's oh, come on, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. What a ridiculous scene. And then he ends up just getting shot, saying, how are you going to kill me? Like, with this or this or this. And she's like, nope, a gun. And pulls it out from behind her back and shoots him dead. What a stupid scene. Like, that was just so dumb when I saw this on this rewatch. And I remember not liking that too in the past on watches. I remember I said, that is so stupid. There's a cop here. This person killed your son. Decapitated him. Not even just like killed, cut his fucking head off. And you're a cop and you don't have a gun on you. And you see the killer that decapitated your son with her hands behind her back for like minutes straight as they talk, and you don't say, show me your fucking hands, or like realize that at all, that she's holding something behind her back. What a stupid, like probably the dumbest shit in this whole series for me. Like the stupidest scene in the three films. Can't speak about the next one because, like I said, I've heard such terrible shit about it, so I'm sure there will be something that outbeats this scene. But for now, for the original trilogy, the fucking stupidest scene in the trilogy. Like, by far. So stupid. Like, I don't know what they were thinking with that. And she ends up tying up the rest of the campers that are left. And is it Marcia and... No, not Marcia. Tony and the other two that I never remember their names. And she has a little game that she pulls Barney's corpse down that she has tied up in front of them. And they're all tied up like side by side, the three of them. Tony is in the middle and then the other two on the side. And says like, all right, so you have 2 minutes to pick which cabin Marcia's in and find Marcia. Is she in cabin 1, 2, or 3? And off they go. It says you got 2 minutes. And that's a unique thing. Like, I thought that was unique. Like, you don't see that. Like, having 3 people that are tied up having to like work together and like move together under a time limit to like do something, otherwise they'll get murdered by the psychotic fucking woman. Like that's actually like very unique. And they end up going into the one cabin, and just these 2 axes that were like booby trapped and stuff, 2 axes come down and Tony's in the middle, so he's safe, and the ones on the side both like right with the axes, kills him. Fucking, that's cool. That was really cool. And Angela decides to let Marsha and Tony live, like I said, and like really hammered it home on my thoughts with Molly and hers dynamic in the last movie. And she ends up, I don't know why they didn't just leave. Like I don't know why. I mean, I get it. I mean, after everything that like Marsha saw and stuff now, you know, but like still, they could have just left. But she did a good thing, man. She tried to fucking kill Angela and just end this shit. And Marsha comes running out with the axe and tries chopping her up and stuff, and they get in a struggle, and then she stabs Marsha, I think, like in the leg or something like that, and then she gets the knife and just stabs Angela a few times and stuff. She's laying on the ground, and then Tony comes and like, come on, let's get out of here. We gotta call the cops. And ends up, we get this hilarious scene at the end, man. Like in the cop car and stuff with Tony and Marsha in the back. And he's like, don't worry, babe, everything's gonna be all right. Like, I'll move to Ohio for you. Like, we'll be together forever. And she's just like, dude, this is some real shit. Like, she's just saying, like, Tony, like, I have a boyfriend already back home. What? That's fucked up, man. That really is, but it's real as shit. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's so funny though. And it's just, he's like, you can come visit me though. Like, it was so funny. And then I love how the paramedics, like when they pick up Angela's body, like when she's still alive, and they say like she's still alive, I love how they're both debating just murdering her right then and there. Like, that's awesome. That is so cool. Like, of just the two paramedics just saying, dude, we should just kill her. And the other one's like, how? Like, what do you mean? He's like, this has to stop. Like, she's psychotic. Like, let's just kill her and end this. Like, bravo, man. And you should have done it immediately, because unfortunately, Angela ain't dead, and she just comes back to life. No, not back to life, you know what I mean? But like, just pops up and stabs the paramedic and the other guy, and the driver says, what's going on? And she just says, I'm just taking care of business. And end of the movie, credits. It was such a weird rewatch for me for this film. Like I said, like, I still love this movie. It's hysterical. It's so over the top, like way more over the top than the second one, and like in a different galaxy over the top from the first movie, like completely. But still so hilarious. There's so many hilarious lines, and but a lot more stupid shit in this movie that makes me roll my eyes. But I'm gonna look for Return to Sleepaway Camp and try to do that next. And shit, 57 minutes on fucking this movie. And after that, once I get into slasher mode, like I said on the channel, slasher movies, 80s slashers especially, are my favorite genre of horror subgenre. And once I get into slasher mode and talking about slasher movies, it's hard to get me out of slasher mode, man. So I am going to do the entire Hatchet series tonight or into tomorrow. I absolutely adore the Hatchet series, and especially as a modern slasher franchise. Awesome films with amazing gore and kills, so I cannot wait to discuss that. So I'll be looking, like I said, for Return to Sleepaway Camp to fucking suffer through how terrible that probably is, and then I'll hopefully be able to find it and get a review up, so this series will be done and we can move on to Hatchet. Thank you guys for watching, and I will try to have Return to Sleepaway Camp up as soon as I can, if I can find it. Take care.